we as business analysts, when we talk about the planning, it pretty much encompasses every activity that we do, right from the time we start with the stakeholders. For example, we are going to discuss the stakeholders in the next few slides. But then when we talk initially about stakeholders, who are the stakeholders? How do we need to interact with them? What kind of elicitation exercises we need to interact with them? The stop technique, for example, if you recollect, the strategic, tactical, operational. Yes, strategic is if the person is a very high level strategic, then you might want to just have interviews. And then the person is in the tactical role, which means in the middle management or in that particular role of tactical aspects of it, then you might want to engage with them on having workshops and prototyping and then observations. And then when they're in the operational aspects, because they're actually hands-on, they know how to do things, they're the people who actually do the tasks on the ground, you might want to engage with them in a totally different level in terms of observing while they're doing, perhaps even doing some kind of activity recording, activity sampling, and all these prototyping, evaluation of those, all of these kind of elicitation techniques. So you're planning there, you're trying to understand what your stakeholders are, at what level they are, what kind of role they're playing, what kind of information they're potentially in a position to give you, and then accordingly you're planning to conduct the elicitation exercise in the appropriate manner. So again, that involves the right element of planning. Again, in terms of understanding or extracting and eliciting the information, you need to understand the needs, the pain areas, the kind of tasks that they do, the workflows, what kind of breakage scenarios, breakdown scenarios that they might encounter in a day-to-day basis, and then how you can support with your product or service, how you can support them in their workflow. So for example, if there are people who are actually doing the scientific research, they have got a certain way of doing things compared to, for example, if you're a professor teaching in a university, you've got a different workflow involved, totally different workflow. When you talk about, for example, a pharmacist who is trying to sell the drugs in a medical department store, then you've got a completely different workflow. So each of these different users and stakeholders have got different needs, different roles, different goals, and different pain areas. So we need to be able to understand each of them, so that when you try and target these primary users in your marketing or even in your product definition, you would then be able to understand how you can best support their workflow, so that they don't have to really learn a lot of things with your product. They're already having that. They don't want to get more pain and more trouble to learn new things. So again, that's where we need to really be smart, and that's where the business analysts role really is very, very important and very, very pivotal in defining the goals, the scenarios, the profiles, the usage context, the user profiles. When would they use it? What is the context of usage? How often do they use the product or application? What are their real needs and not just wishes, right? So all these things need to be specified by us, by the BAs, and then that would become a very, very powerful communication tool and the specification tool for the development team, for the designers, for architects, for testers, and for everybody else to refer to understand our specification, then accordingly try and identify the best solution, and then recommend the solution, and then start implementing the solution and delivering the solution. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be just another solution that perhaps is a mix or a blend of different products and services. So all of these, it's really important. And if you notice carefully here, this is what I propose. This is a model that we came up with. It's called know the needs of the users, design and develop for the users, and evaluate the product by the users. So essentially, of the users, for the users, and by the users. It's totally a user-centered design concept.